Find out why William and Charles clashed over flying in a helicopter.
And Harry says it's still too dangerous for Meghan to return to the UK. Hello and welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show where we bring you insight and opinion into the lives of two rather famous royal couples on either side of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield and I'll be bringing you updates on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex right here in California.
And I'm Rupert Bell in the UK, different location for me this week. I'm not quite sure where I am, but I will still be bringing you news on the Prince and Princess of Wales.
Rupert, where are you right now? Are you being held hostage? Is this a hostage situation?
Well, it's a long story. I'm in a hotel in a town called Chichester, which is actually a very pretty town on the south coast of the United Kingdom. I can see the Isle of Wight, and we've had a couple of lovely days. But I'm in a hotel that does actually feel like that I'm about to do some time. But that is the life of someone who spends quite a lot of time on his road. Accommodation, you just take what you're given. And sorry, I haven't got a sophisticated lighting set up here. You're just going to have to roll with the punches here. You can see my laundry in the back. No, my shirt's in the background for my racing week at glorious Goodwood, one of the great summer racing social occasions. I know you went to Ascot, but Goodwood is another one of our social racing occasions. So that's why I'm in the south coast of England this week in what looks like a dungeon.
Well, I can't wait to see what tattoo you get while you're staying at your locale.
But you jest. Last year we stayed in the same hotel, and I have to say it was an eye-opening moment in many ways. I felt that I was the only non-tattooed person here. But anyway, hey-ho.
All right, so let's jump right in. There is a new story that started circulating over the weekend. According to a new book by Robert Jobson, Prince William was asked to sign a waiver after clashing with King Charles over the issue of the Prince of Wales flying in a helicopter with his family. Now, this comes from Jobson's new book called Catherine, the Princess of Wales. He wrote, after being diagnosed with cancer, King Charles, perhaps reminded of his own mortality, echoed his late mother's concerns because apparently Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth, also loathed the idea of Prince William in a helicopter. Jobson says, and when William refused to stop flying with his family, Charles insisted that he sign a formal document acknowledging the risks involved in taking full responsibility for his actions. It would be scant consolation, of course, for an unspeakable tragedy, let alone for the prospect of King Harry and Queen Meghan. Well, that just gives you goosebumps. Hey, but Rupert, this is kind of protocol, right? Like, are we making something out of nothing? It's typical that we try to keep, the monarch in the air traveling separately. It's just at the end of the day, logistics, don't you believe?
I think ultimately it is a logistic thing. You have to, the air, so you have to. And look, while air travel, we know, in the main, is incredibly safe. And yes, William is a helicopter pilot. That was something he loved doing and loves flying his helicopter. But actually, it is actually a protocol because you can't, the air in the same, it's like the royal family always travel, sadly, with clothes for mourning, to be in mourning. It's always packed. You remember the pictures of the late Queen when she traveled to Kenya all those days ago. She was in Kenya having a lovely time. Okay, part state, but in Kenya, but had to come back. But that clothing was ready with her. It is protocol. But I think it's probably, when you say clash, I think probably had a discussion. It needed to be explained. And the reality of the new now, which is that the King is, I tell you what, the lights have gone off again in here. Sorry, I got even darker. I don't know why. I'm on a timer. What is happening? I'm sorry, but all I can say is I think I understand why this is happened. It is protocol, but it's William probably having to accept the now, which is he is the heir. He can't be traveling with his future heir, i.e. his son. So it is a logistical thing. Of course, we all's families like to travel together. but it is something they're going to have to work out how they manage going forward.
Can I tell you my favorite new part that I've seen so far? I've not had the opportunity to read Robert Jobson's book about Catherine yet, but one of the details I read was about Prince William and Catherine's wedding night. He said, as they stood grinning and holding hands in the middle of the room, this is in Buckingham Palace, the opening bars of the song, "You're the One That I Want," suddenly boomed out. To their friends' delight, William and Catherine launched into the dance of the lead characters from the film Grease, mouthing the words and pointing to each other. That is one of my favorite movies. That is one of my favorite movie moments. The fact that just visualizing these two singing that together and knowing that they love the same movies that we do, it is just such a fun takeaway from this book.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I think what it shows is that they obviously went to university, their love affair was on off. I think they just worked it out. And I think that was the important thing about their courtship. When you look back, it was not always smooth. It was actually Kate having to work out, could she take this job on? And let's be honest, it doesn't just come, I'll marry you and away we go. And that's why I think one of the problems for Meghan is that she, it's all fine and dandy to be the Duchess of Sussex, but it comes with a responsibility that is not just, you can't control it. You are then consumed by the role of being the future king's wife. And it is a tough one. But at least, the wedding night, I hope that the party they had, and I hope they rocked the joint. I didn't think you were old enough to even know that the film came out in the 70s, Kinsey. But sadly, I remember the film first time round, and it clearly, for a lot of people, was a very iconic moment. Olivia Newton-John doing the dance with John Travolta.
Oh yeah, she had to get sewn into those pants. Yeah, and then you think about the fact that I didn't know that I knew that Princess Diana had a relationship with John Travolta based on that White House dance. But I didn't realize that there was a love for this movie, which I really appreciate. And now we know that Prince Harry is trying to keep in touch with John Travolta. He was awarded an aviation award. So John Travolta, a lot of history there that I didn't even realize existed when it came to Diana's boys, other than the aviation award. Here's a funny revelation that came out of their recent financial report. It's that Prince William cut off Queen Camilla's sister from the royal payroll after 2 decades of service. Of course, this is a sensational headline, but at the end of the day, a source told, I believe it was the Telegraph, that it was no reflection on the work of Camilla's sister. I think it's great that she's an interior designer, and she, on her resume now, it says she worked for the royal family for 20 years. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and actually, there's never been any question mark about Annabel Elliott working for the Duchy of Cornwall. And it's not as if she doesn't come with a very good, high-powered reputation. Now, you've always got to be mindful that when you've got family around, that people are immediately going to say, well, she's only got the job because of who she is. And I think it probably makes perfect sense in many ways. My lights have just suddenly come on. I don't know who's paid the bill here.
I think
Sorry,
your room is haunted. It's not even this isn't even our Halloween special yet, Rupert. Your room is haunted.
Something going on here. Anyway, so be prepared for me to be thrown into darkness again. But I digress. But I actually understand why Annabel Elliott, they've come to the end, because it's now Prince William's gig, is it way. And I've heard that William Van Cutsum is now going to be brought into the fold to work with William. Now, he's one of his oldest friends. He runs successful companies. So actually what you're looking at there is the passing of the baton. Now, he's bringing in a trusted friend and confidant. Someone, though, when you look, it's not just someone he's dragged off the street, but someone who's run successful businesses. So, and that's certainly he and William, as we know, likes to have trusted people around him, because it is complicated, because what he doesn't want is things being leaked here, left, right, and centre. And someone like William Van Cutsum, who knows both William and Harry very well, I can see why that's happening. And for Annabel Elliott, look, she's now probably, I think she's in her 70s, probably makes sense that now she can be more in round to just help her sister in the job of being the current queen and all that entails, bearing in mind that the king is still recovering from cancer.
Very good point. Yeah, I'm sure that it is nice to have family closer and helping out when they can, stepping in. We've seen Meghan Markle a lot over the last few days here in the States. She attended a summit in the Hamptons Friday titled the G9 Ventures Summer Summit. This is hosted by a power broker named Amy Griffin. One of my girlfriends was there. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to lose a good source, but we actually discovered this thanks to Page Six, who caught on to the fact that Meghan was flying via a private jet out of Santa Barbara with entrepreneur Jamie Kern-Lima. Jamie is a contact of Oprah Winfrey's. We've seen them sit down with one another. Jamie is she's a makeup entrepreneur, but she's also a motivational speaker, and she does these huge events where she talks to women about becoming the best self, the best version of themselves. According to Page Six, Meghan was there picking up tips for American Riviera Orchard. I would argue that she was panhandling for podcast guests, but she's been doing a lot of networking lately. We also saw her with the star of Father of the Bride, Kimberly Williams Paisley, out in Montecito. And, Rupert, I think she's got a tough road ahead when it comes to making friends with some of these influential women, like Reese Witherspoon, who was also at that event, because she's got to convince them that she's not the woman that the papers say she is.
She's got a long way back, and flying by a private jet, which Harry's always about the environment. So, there she is flying slightly grandiose, G7, G9, G20. I mean, it's a slightly grandiose title for basically networkers getting together, and all in fine and dandy. They're not just getting together anywhere, they're getting together in the Hamptons, which is a pretty exclusive part of the world for high net worth individuals and people. That is so clearly from Meghan's point of view, she wants to go there to be seen that she is still relevant. Now, it's fine. She's fully entitled to go there. And yes, she's trying to prove that, yes, the American Riviera Orchard she's getting lots of help and inspiration from people who've done this sort of thing. Gwyneth Paltrow's done and all various others. I'm not completely au fait, but at the moment we seem to have just got to 50 bottles of strawberry jam and jars of strawberry jam, and that's about the size of it. So things need to happen, but it's all and a few little nice photographs. But hopefully she's knuckling down and coming back with some proper ideas. But it is interesting, they do the worthy bit about the private jets, yet there she is flying across America from the Hamptons, from California, in a private jet. You think of that what you will, but I know she might say she needs to be kept private, away from the riffraff, the rest of the human race. But I have to say, they've got the optics. If she's flown in a private jet, then don't her husband must be careful what he says going forward with regard to private jet travel.
That's true. Yeah. And you actually made a really good point. How much of that event was just so Meghan would be seen with these other women who are, without a doubt, bona fide successes? Like the creator of Spanx was there. Every woman in the world probably has a pair of Spanx in her closet today. She was not only there.
You're losing me here. I have no idea what you're talking about, but anyway, I'm sure it's relevant.
But I think that it was not just about getting information. It was about being seen, and you are who you associate with. And she wants people to see her with some of these, unbelievably successful entrepreneurial women, and assume that she's like them, when the reality is Meghan's been given the majority of opportunities she has today thanks to the person that she married, not necessarily because of a skill or because of any sort of creativity. Meghan is Prince Harry's wife today, and that's just a fact. She was the girl from the TIG, she was the girl from Suits, but that girl would not be invited to this event that we saw her at. There's no way she would have received an invitation.
Well, Duke of Sussex, the Duchess of Sussex, they create PR interest. Look, we're talking about them. We know the game. The one thing you can never accuse Meghan of being is naive and not understanding the PR situation. She knows the game, and for being there, it's a wonderful photo opportunity. But you know, flying across, it's not next door. I don't know how long this summit went on, and you know how structured it was. I believe it takes place in the organizer's house, but I'm sure it's not just any old house in the Hamptons. So yes, it's all fine and dandy. It looks good on paper, but the proof in the pudding will be if American Riviera Orchard actually looks as if it's got something that the general public want to buy into. Now, it's all fine and dandy there are so many of these things out there, and it's very hard to break and be commercially successful. So what Meghan has to make sure is that from a business perspective, the things she's offering actually are something that is different from what is already out there from these other successful celebrity brands. And that's going to be a very difficult thing for her to do. It's a crowded market. You know, probably in America, there's all these people trying to cash in on their celebrity one way or another. And for a commercial operation and the viability of it, she has got to make sure she comes up with a product across whatever range of products it is that actually resonates with her target market. What is her target market? I'm not sure at the moment where she's trying to pitch it at. Where is it? People with high net worth individuals, or is it people on a more middle income range? What is she trying to create? Aspirational brand. Is that what she's looking at? Well, that aspirational brand must be products that feel that if you've got them in your house, people have them there with a sense of pride, because that's why you have them. Whether it's nice candles, you know, if you've got nice candles, it's a brand that people like and go, oh, that's good. Even if it then costs you $50 more to get that particular brand. But it's got to be something people will want to have around.
That's a good point. I mean, I would not have said a year ago or 2 years ago that I was a fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, but I've noticed that I buy products that she tells me to buy. So there is some psychology there that I'd be curious to understand. And yeah, I mean, I'll see Gwyneth Paltrow use some sort of utensil on her face, and I'm all of a sudden buying a $150 piece of gold, a gold bar for my face. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the influence that these people do have is crazy. So I understand why Meghan's trying to take advantage of it. But you're right. Who is her demo? She's got to figure that out, and she's got to cater to that demo versus chasing after keeping up with the Joneses, perhaps. I know I saw you have this conversation a couple of times this week, and I thought you explained it very well. Just discussing Prince Harry, this ITV interview. You know, he's still talking about the past. We did get some new revelations. He believes that the Queen would support his pursuits of taking down the media, holding the media accountable, as he would say. He believes that Meghan Markle is in danger in the UK. What was your initial reaction to some of those sound bites?
It's frustrating. Look, he's fully entitled to have his bash with the press if this is his big thing. But at times you get you just sound sad at times, bitter, twisted, now, and frustrated almost with his lot. And that's what was, when you see it, yes, and you have to say a lot of this is recollections may vary, again, coming out about some of the things he's saying that the Queen blessed him in many ways with his fight against the press. And you think, I'm not sure she would have done, because she's probably someone who said, right, the last thing we need to be doing is taking on the press here, because we need them. We need them to be our best friends.
Or exposing yourself to the vulnerability of sitting in that box and being asked a million questions and being expected to answer them honestly.
Yeah, and at times he just feels that it cuts a sad picture at times. That was, sort of angry. Now he may be, but why is he angry now? No, because the press this is all going back over old ground. Now the court cases may be continuing. He's had some successes. We're not going to deny him that. There's some legal successes coming his way. But where it becomes frustrating, he's made his lot over in America. He should now be actually saying, right, I'm happy now. But to say that his wife is in real danger when she comes to England or the UK, I just don't believe that. Now, I know but he would always there will be a degree of security around him. It's just going to be the case. He goes to Nigeria with his wife. Now, fine, there would have been extensive security operations. But let's be honest, okay, our country has got things going on here, which is an undercurrent, but they're not necessarily going to be targeting Meghan and Harry. And again, I just think that that's an easy opt-out excuse to say Meghan is not coming back to the UK because it's easy to hide behind these security issues. Currently, he's not getting the red carpet treatment when she comes here, and that's not her. She's not comfortable when she's not the focus of attention. And coming here to the UK and I think there's more to it than just saying the security, because going to Nigeria on the face of it doesn't seem to be seems to be no different than coming to Britain.
It was you that made the point that it was the American media, a gossip site, TMZ, that snapped the photo of Catherine, the Princess of Wales, after she asked for privacy after her abdominal surgery, when the whole world was worried about where she was. We didn't know she had cancer yet. It was an American media outlet that hid behind some bushes at Windsor and snapped that photo. It was the attempted assassin. It was, the man that shot at Donald Trump that was Googling Catherine, the Princess of Wales in the United States of America. We have different gun laws here. I think you're absolutely right. I do believe that Harry is a catastrophic thinker, that he fixates on the worst case scenario, but I also think it's just an easy out for Meghan to not go back to the UK.
And that is part of the problem. And he's not getting enough advice from his old friends. And obviously Meghan's circle of friends is a small one, and certainly family. But Harry's old friends might have been able to have a word quietly and say, oh, come on, let's talk this through. Where are we going with this? But he's in his bubble now, and that bubble seems to be getting smaller and smaller. So that he is overthinking the whole thing. Now, if this is his mission to take on the British press. If he legally wins it, then fair play to him. But I think it does seem to be on one of the two things that have happened now, on slightly legal, stony ground. But I don't know enough to say one way or another. So it will be interesting to see how it pans out. But at times he just seems to be cutting a sad, lonely, bitter figure. And you keep reading reports that he wants rapprochement. Well, the only way he's going to get rapprochement with his family is if he offers some mea culpa and says, I am sorry, this has been a difficult time for all of us. Let's see if we can find a way of putting a line under what's happened and rebuild bridges. But that means he has to shut up. How he finds a way of shutting up will be difficult, knowing that his wife and their brand needs the oxygen of publicity. It's a very difficult balancing act. If he wants to rebuild bridges, how is he going to be made to do it that makes everyone happy and rebuilds trust? Because that's when family relationships break down, it comes down to trust. And at the moment, the lack of trust, and this interview won't have actually helped, because they'll be going, oh my God, here he goes again.
Here he goes again. All right, Rupert Bell, my favorite royal reporter in the whole world. Thank you so much for your time today. You need some sage around your haunted room. You're going to need to smoke it out. I don't know. You've got a ghost in there. But thank you so much for taking a break from keeping the golf course hot. I'm so grateful for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Well, I can tell you, my play was not hot. It has been hot, but I do feel with the flickering lights here, I've added a new dimension to Heirs and Spares, the world of the Royal Strange.
Yes, thank you so much, Rupert. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Look forward to it.